Hello friends, and welcome back to Hearthstone. Now, I will have to say quickly, when the previous episode went out, I was under the assumption that they'd already reset the ranks for ranked play, but it turns out that I didn't read it properly and it was delayed, so they've actually done the reset in between the last video and this one, so I'm back to rank 25 again, which is, yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's not like I got very far and it was good practice, so... as you can see on the screen, I've actually got the changes to the cards that were made while they did the reset. Abusive Sergeant and Dark Iron Dwarf have now got their buffs that only last that one turn. So, whereas before when you played them, the buff was permanent, now it just lasts for the turn that they were played. The Warlock's Blood Imp now has 0 attack, and it randomly gives a friendly minion 1 health, so it's been nerfed. Defender of Argus is now a 2/3 instead of a 3/3. The Mage's Pyroblast skill now costs 10 mana, down from 8, which is quite a huge difference, because I don't know about you, but I was getting pretty sick of having Mages Pyroblasting me in the face constantly, so that was quite nice. Sylvanas, which isn't listed here, she actually now costs 6 mana instead of 5, sort of increasing the cost on there, because a lot of decks have been sort of felt like they have to run with Sylvanas in it, so it's kind of making people think twice about having some cards like that in their deck. Also not listed is the Novice Engineer. It's now a 1/1 instead of a 1/2, which to me is not really a huge difference, as you'll see, when I actually start playing, because I have that in my Paladin deck. Also not listed there, is Unleash the Hounds, which is now a 2 cost, down from 4. Warriors have also had their Charge and Warsong Commander cards reworked as well. It's basically to try and fix the one-turn kill decks that have been going around. Obviously, Blizzard don't really want that kind of playstyle going about. It's, it's not great. But with regards to Paladin, obviously, I'm sticking with the same deck I had in the first video. I haven't really had any changes, which is great. But yeah, I suppose the only change really is the Novice Engineer, and honestly, I haven't noticed any difference at all, really. I only use it for card draw anyway. So there you go, all changes are now in place and everyone has had their ranks reset, so it's time to move on to our first game of the new season. Okay, I'm up against a mage, which is brilliant. I've been seeing a lot of those lately, and in the opening hand I get a Tyrion. I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to keep him or not. I haven't had a lot of luck pulling him lately, so I did decide to keep him in the end. I've also got the Novice Engineer, as you can see, with the new changes. It's now a 1/1. And I've got Sen'jin Shieldmaster, so that's quite nice. Got some good early plays. I do have a lot of taunt in my deck. I know it's not necessary, but I tend to find that it helps sort of... If I make a lot of mistakes, sometimes, a good taunt kind of helps me get out of that. It's quite forgiving. So obviously I have no turn 1 play and I pass, and the mage goes for a mirror image, and I'm done messing with the scenery. Now, that's quite a strong mage opening hand, first play. I don't have a lot that can deal with that. In fact, I don't really have anything that can deal with that at the moment. I do decide to go for the Novice Engineer over the Hero Power. They're both a 1/1, they both cost 2 mana. The only difference is that the Novice Engineer grants me card draw. So normally if I've got the choice between those two, I always opt for the Engineer. Just because, it's got an extra given thing. And card draw is always good. The mage is having a good think. And I'm having a look at what I can do on turn 2, or how I can deal with those mirror images. It's not really a huge amount. Then they open up with Arcane Missiles, which again is another strong sort of early play from the mage there. Not really a lot I could do about that. Again, I'm getting high cost cards. I've got nothing that's really going to help me out right now. I could play Quality, but it seems like a waste, so I just opt for the Hero Power and summon my little Paladin dude. There's one of the downsides to this deck is I don't have a huge amount, early game to sort of prevent rush decks and things like that. Like I have to sort of hang on and try and survive until the later part of the game. That's where this deck has its main strength. So I just got to sit and wait it out. I'm not entirely sure what kind of deck this mage has at the at first glance. I think it might be a rush deck. They come out with the Razor End Hunter and the Boar, so that sort of confirms in my mind it may be a rush deck. So I pretty much just got to hang on and brace myself with it. I've got 4 mana. The logical thing for me to do is to play Consecrate, which should clear the board. I can finish trading out the Boar Woman for my little hero dude. I forget their names, I'm sorry. But now we've got a clear board. We're both on 28 health. And turn 5, I'm debating whether to play the Booty Bay guy or the Senjin Shieldmaster. He comes out with his own. And I pull Repentance on the next turn, so I was debating which one to play, which would be the best one. I decided in the end to pull out my own Shieldmaster. There we go, and put Repentance down. It usually tends to mess with people because the majority of the time people see a paladin play a secret and they assume it's an eye for an eye, which is quite nice. Quite a bit of mind games going on. I think he's thinking what to do about it. Not sure how to deal with it. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, looking at my turn 6 play, I can play my other taunt, or I can play my Argent Commander. He opts for another mirror image, so he's running both those mirror images and polymorphs the taunt, and then just goes straight for my face, which is unfortunate. At this moment in time, I was thinking about what to do. Argent Commander right now is not going to be the best idea, maybe. Or is he? Looking back, he probably would have been. But I decided instead that I may have played Equality. See, there's a lot of long pauses, because this was pre-recorded, I'm just commentating over it, and I was having a bit of a think. Yeah, I decided to use Equality and the Outdoor Peacekeeper for some reason. But looking back on it, I think the Argent Commander and then traded the Sheep would have been a better idea. Then it's his turn. He's got his taunts out still. He's still got, more board control. He's got more cards in his hand. So he's got the upper hand at this point in the game. I haven't really got too much that I can do. He decides to Frostbolt the Peacekeeper. Clear my side of the board. And then what does he do? Decides to draw 2 cards. So he's obviously looking for something. And then he coins into Novice Engineer, which procs my Repentance, which was dumb, because it's made absolutely 0 difference to it whatsoever. So just wasted my card. But, it happens. So, again, he's got board control. I've got 1 more card than him. I'm not really sure what to play at this point. I decided to go with the Argent Commander and then Blessing of Wisdoms on it, just to try and clear out some of these taunts. I did pull a Blessed Champion from that, which was good. And then pass the turn to him. Or her. It's probably a guy though. Usually is. He pulls out an Acidic Swamp Ooze. I don't really like that card personally. I normally tend to save them if I know I'm up against a deck that's going to have weapons and things in it. I normally tend to save it for that. But, I don't have it in this deck. He decides to ping the shield off by trading his Engineer and hits me with a Fire Blast. Just sort of put me in a corner, really. It's not looking great for me at all. Pull my own Novice Engineer. Thinking what I can play for turn 8. Tyrion would not be the best idea. But, everything there is not great, to be honest. I'm looking at my hand at that point, and I remember thinking that everything there is kind of a waste. I decided to go for the taunt.
Get behind me.
And then trade for the 1/4. Pull out the Engineer. Just a little bit of extra card draw. I get a Hammer of Wrath and Repentance, which I was thinking about playing. Wasn't sure because he probably know what it is at this point, but then I decide, why not? I've got, you know, it makes no difference anyway, really, if I play it or not. He's gonna know what it is, but it will still, you know, he's got 8 mana at this point, so if he did have a legendary in his hand, he'd think twice about playing it. He decides to fireball the taunt, which again is unfortunate. And I'm really not in a good spot right now. And he decides to pull out another taunt. Procs my secret, which doesn't do much. Unfortunately again, really not having any luck with that. Fire blasts the engineer, and he's got full board control again. Smacks me for 3, and it's my turn. And at this point, Tyrion would not be the best idea. Again, he's still got a polymorph somewhere. The Guardian guy. It's not a good idea. I mean, I'm on 22 health. I'm not dying. Hammer of Wrath is not great. I mean, everything there is not ideal, but you know, you got to make do with what you got, really. So I think I was tempted to play Tyrion or Hammer of Wrath at this point. If I was going to Hammer of Wrath something now, looking back at it, I'd have probably been the Ooze. Just to stop 3 damage coming my way. I do decide to risk Tyrion, which is not the best move because, you know, he's completely just screaming polymorph me at this point. And I wasn't thinking at the time, but you know, there we go, I've done it now. So, thinking what he's going to do, he decides to... What is he doing? What are you doing? Frostwolf Warlord. There we go. 7/7. That's quite scary. Pings a shield off, and he was thinking what to attack with his taunt. He was going to hit me, but he couldn't. Because obviously he has to get through Tyrion. He just decides to pass at that point, because he didn't want to trade anything. And this is where things start getting a bit hairy. I've got 10 mana to blow, but I haven't really got anything brilliant that I could do. Everything seems like a waste at this point. I was really tempted to bring out the, I think he's Guardian of Kings, I think he is. I don't know. I can't read it from here. But, yeah, you have to excuse the long pauses. I'm sitting here thinking what to do at that point, and it's just like, it's staring me in the face now, but back then I was not thinking at all. It's terrible. So, I'm thinking, and wasting time and being an idiot. And I think I go for Hammer of Wrath on the Frostwolf. Go on, you know you want to. Do it. Come on, stop thinking about it. You silly woman. There we go. And then get Tyrion to take out that last mirror image, and then just summon a dude. And, oh yeah, and I pop Blessing of Wisdom on the Frostwolf, so I get a card out of it if he attacks. Which is always good, I suppose. But really, I'm struggling at this point. I have nothing to deal with it. He's got, you know... He's got the stronger board presence. He's got the stronger cards. He keeps holding on to something as well. He pulls out a Frost Elemental. And Murlocs. Oh, the Murlocs! And at this point, he's completely dominating the board, and I've got nothing. And it's looking like a loss, which is quite unfortunate. And he decides to trade his Frostwolf, gives me Blessing of Kings and Ashbringer. Thank you very much. But, you know, he's still got board control, and all I've got is this sad little man. Which is not looking very good at all, this poor little man. I get another Hammer of Wrath. And I'm thinking what to do. I could pop my Guardian, get a bit of health back. Everything, again, seems like a waste. I have lots of buffs, but nothing really to buff with. I have nothing that can really be used in combination to sort of help my situation. I'm definitely sure that he baited the Consecrate at the beginning of the match. And I haven't been able to pull my second one, which would have been really useful about now. But, you know, that's how things go. Yeah, there's me thinking about the Guardian of Kings. Deciding against it, and Deciding to Blessing of Kings on the little paladin man. Seems like a silly idea, but you know, what can you do? Now, I should have Hammer of Wrath on something else, like the ooze, but I didn't for some reason, which was really dumb, because I could have saved myself some damage. Decided to trade the elemental and then use Ashbringer on the ooze, which, you know, I was better off using it on the Goldshire Footman. I was having to think whether to hit him with it or not, but, you know, I think clearing the board at this point was more important. But, you know, looking back on it, I should have used the Ashbringer on the Goldshire Footman. But, you know, there we go. Mistakes happen. He's still got board presence. He pulls out a boar. And I have nothing, really. He's holding on to that last card. And at this point, I was thinking it was a Pyroblast. Because, you know, he's been hanging on to that one card for the last few turns. And I was convinced at this point it was a Pyroblast. And he got me down to 10 health. Which was quite scary. So I decide the only logical thing to do is to play my Guardian of Kings, because that gets me out of Pyroblast range. And then Aldor Peacekeeper the Murloc, because I really need something out there. And then I think I just Ashbringer him in the face. Or do I? Yes, in the face. Smack him in the face with Ashbringer. He flame strikes, which kills my Peacekeeper and takes my Guardian down to 2, which sucks, but you know. These mages have got an answer for everything. Trades his boar, smacks me for 1, I'm down to 15. And it's my turn again. I pull out my other taunt. He's been hiding in the shadows the whole time. Go. You know you want to, there you go.
Get behind me.
And then, let's see, I was thinking what to do, and I was going to buff him, but then I thought that'd be silly because he's pretty much just making him a target. It'd be a waste of cards. I decided this time to clear the board. Waste my Ashbringer, well done. Could have done like 5 damage to him, but no. What can you do? And he decides to fireball my taunt again. Mages have an answer to everything. It's really, 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 really infuriating. But it's really not looking like I'm going to win at all in this one. I pull out Knife Juggler, and suddenly I see a combo, which is quite fortunate. Knife Juggler and Guardian of Kings, get some health back. I am back up to 20, which is good. Knife Juggler proc smacks him for 1. So, you know, I'm hanging on. And he decides to polymorph, the final polymorph. And he must have obviously just top decked that. Kills my Guardian. Still hanging on to that final card. And I decide to use my Argent Protector to put the shield onto my Knife Juggler. Proc his knife. And this is where I did a stupid thing, because I should have used the Blessing of Mites first and then the other thing, and I would have killed him that turn. But you know, or at least near killed him. I would have done a lot more damage. I'd have made him 18 yeah, I would have made him 18 instead of 12. But you know, it was a really silly thing, but it's still looking good. He pings off the shield. And somehow, that last card was not a Pyroblast. And I don't know why he was hanging on to it for so long. But
I can't do that.
I somehow managed to pull this around and win. And I really did deserve it because I played like trash. But you know, there we go. We are 2 stars, rank 25, and we take the first win. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.